What's up, guys and gals? Your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the next piece of One Piece. Thankfully, this is not the last chapter of One Piece, chapter 1030. No, this is chapter 1031, and I think we have passed by one of the worst chapters, one of the worst things Oda has ever made, as far as I'm concerned, though it does bleed over into this chapter in a different way. At least this chapter, what do we get? We start off with one of the best cover pages, a color spread that I've seen in a long time. All the first mates, all the second in commands, all the vice captains, whatever you want to call them. I refer to them as first mates because they're pirate crews, etc. But we have Rayleigh, the original first mate. We have Bender Beckman. We have King. We have Katakuri. We have Killer. We have Marco. We even have Sabo up in here, being the number 2, of course, of the Revolutionary Army. Though they are not pirate crews, still number 2 involved. We have Shiryu, and we have Zoro. We have Zoro himself, of course, the first mate, which a lot of people for some reason still think that Zoro is not the first mate for some reason, or the fact that Luffy asked him first is the reason he's the first mate. Those people are very, well, they're just wrong. But anyways, either way, and then we have Beppo. Hilariously, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things is just not quite right. That being said, we haven't seen Beppo in Sulon form. Food for thought. Anyways, starting off really strong with that, right? Starting off really strong with that. Then we jump into, of course, the huge attack and the good saving grace of the last chapter, which, of course, was we had Awakenings by Law and Kid. Didn't hear a whole lot of people talking about disliking this idea because, once again, their hockey isn't on the level of somebody like Luffy's or even, relatively speaking, Zoro's for that matter. Even though he just discovered his own Conqueror's hockey, the fact that Zoro has it, Kid doesn't seem to be able to utilize it in the same way that Luffy can either. So I would argue that these two, with their Devil Fruits, you know, somebody like Mihawk and Rayleigh and Roger, from what we know, and Shanks and stuff, their hockey is, of course, way better than people with Devil Fruits than without, from what we understand, because they have to make up that difference, right? So it makes only total sense that these two would have awakened their Devil Fruit. Some people are complaining about Law, Dressrosa, and stuff. It's like he couldn't have gotten better since Dressrosa. Maybe he couldn't utilize it in battle. We know he's been training. You know, yeah, he didn't exactly sit on his laurels after beating Doflamingo, right? Like, I'm sure he does his own training that we don't see. It happens off screen. Law is not one of the Straw Hats. Why would we see his training? You know, so I don't know if anybody really had a serious problem with that or an argument against why this is bad. But the fact of the matter is that both Kid and Law have awakened their Devil Fruits. They both used an ability within it, but now they're exhausted as fuck, as they said. They might have awakened, but just like Luffy doing Gear 4th, which I don't believe is awakening. I don't believe anybody believes is awakening anymore. But when Luffy first started to use Gear 4th, remember there was a huge drawback with it. There was a huge time limit, and these two are seeing that stamina drain, that drawback. Or like Luffy back when he used to use Gear 3rd or whatever, and he would shrink right down, right? Like there's drawbacks, stamina drawbacks, weakness, all that stuff. And we're seeing that here, but unfortunately, we do get the fact that like Law and Kid have a little bit of a conversation, but Big Mom, of course, comes out of the rubble. If Steel Beams, this is not Tokyo Ghoul. Steel Beams do not kill off strong characters, and Big Mom comes out of the rubble and says, "Life or Oshiruko?" And it's like, well, they dumped all the Oshiruko. Remember the whole, like, the beginning of this thing when everybody was disguised and they dumped the Oshiruko? So, is there any left? Apparently not, and so it's like, nope, Soul Pocus takes all the lives, turns them all into, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And gives everybody life with the Soul Pocus ability, right? So then she uses, this is very interesting. I don't think we saw this in the entirety of Whole Cake. I don't know if we even knew she could do this. But apparently Big Mom can also use a year of her own life. I think we knew this subjectively because she's able to split her own soul and stuff like that, right? But and she did give certain homies life and stuff like that, but I didn't know if that was a relevance to Soul Pocus or not, so I think this is confirming that she can use up her own, in the Soul Pocus version of things, she can actually use up her own life force and take away from her own life to be able to install things, which is kind of funny, because this implies that, I sort of, in a weird way, it sort of implies that she fears herself. Because remember, Soul Pocus with the roulette wheel worked Jinbei. It didn't affect Jinbei because Jinbei was not afraid of Big Mom. Jinbei was convinced that no, Straw Hat Luffy will be the Pirate King. Nothing you do or say is going to make me afraid, because me, the future helmsman of the Straw Hat crew, arguably the greatest moment in like the last 200 chapters, let's just be real. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, up there, one of the greatest moments post time skip, and it includes Jinbei sitting there going, I'm a member of the Straw Hat crew, the future Pirate King's crew. I'm a member of that. Me, afraid of a mere Yonko? Pshaw, right? So that was the deal why Soul Pocus didn't work on him. Now here, apparently Big Mom's using it on herself. So I didn't see anybody else questioning this, but it sort of implies that she's afraid of herself. I don't know. I know it probably doesn't mean that. Like, she can be like, well, she's the Devil Fruit user. She can do whatever the fuck she wants. But for me, it was just kind of funny. Like, maybe Big Mom's afraid of herself. Who knows? But either way, so she ends up using that to strengthen herself, because apparently she did take a huge hit. She claims that. She's like, anything less won't serve to strengthen me. I've got to use my own life force, eat my own life force up, pretty much, which we've seen in anime time and time again. You know, using up your own life, using up your own life force. Even Luffy's done it before, right? So sort of like use up the years on your life to strengthen yourself in the moment. And Big Mom is doing that right now, because this did hurt her. Like the awakening, she did not take no damage from this, and we've seen that here. So she apparently got even bigger by the looks of it, and quite a lot larger, even for Big Mom, which is like, whoa. So according to her, she hasn't felt this much pain in decades, implying that since probably when Rox was defeated or something like that, she hasn't actually been in a fight that was this. This implies that her and Kaido didn't fight like extensively, apparently, by the sounds of this. And not only that, she never contested Whitebeard or Shanks or Kaido or anybody in the few decades since, or 40 years ago, since Rox D. Zebek. I assume that she hasn't felt this type of pain. So that's saying a lot about Kid and Law's abilities here. Now, what the fuck are they going to do against Big Mom at this point? They used their awakenings, they're exhausted, and she's back in full fighting force, even bigger and stronger, arguably, than before. Christ knows what they're going to do against Big Mom. But either way, so she claims for them, like, she's got flames in her eyes, like soul flames in her eyes, saying, take it on if you can. Prove that you're worthy of taking on my throne, a throne of an emperor of the sea. Come on, you're after my throne. Bring it, you little children, sort of idea. And I like this. Because a lot of people, for some reason, hate on Big Mom. I don't know why. I like all the Yonko. Arguably, Blackbeard, good villain. Don't like him because he's an opportunist. The only reason he's any good is because he's an opportunist. He's a liar, a cheater, and an opportunist. Basically, a real-world pirate. That's what he is. He uses everything to his advantage that he can. Sometimes he acts like a fucking moron, you know. But I would argue that Big Mom, Kaido, and stuff, they're all really cool. So now Law and Kid are just like, you know what? We're gonna bring her down, even if it kills us, sort of idea. It's like, oh shit, we used our best moves, and she's still not down. In fact, she's coming at us with Avengers. What are we gonna do? Now, after this, we jump over to Apu and Drake. Now, Drake has figured out that Apu is sort of, you could argue this is a bit of a nerf, apparently. So, according to this, I didn't fully understand, but maybe somebody else can explain it to me. By the sounds of it, because Drake doesn't actually cover up his ears, it's simply, when Apu launches his sound bullet, it's not just the sound. If you can move out of the way of his eyesight, if by the time the sound doesn't reaches your ears and he can't see you, the sound won't reach your ears. That's what I took away from it, because it seemed like he says, at first glance, they seem to have no vector at all, but they combine hearing and sight. So if Apu can't see you while he's launching it, the sound is irrelevant. And I'm like, wow, that's a huge problem. That's an amazing... Like, if he awakened his fruit, I'm assuming it'd be like sort of like a room like anything else, you know what I mean? And then everything, it wouldn't require the sight. Maybe that would be the awakening. But Apu has been incredibly nerfed right here. Not that I'm complaining, because honestly, let's be real. If you're not part of the rooftop gang, let's be real. If you're not part of the rooftop gang, sorry, you didn't make the cut. There's been a time skip since you were introduced. If you're not part of the rooftop gang, you're not shit. Sorry, you're just not. X-Drake is probably the top of the later half of the Supernovas. Let's just be real. I think he's stronger than Hawkins. I think he's stronger than Apu. I think he's stronger than Uru. I think he's stronger than all of them. That's just my personal bias, but I really do. But even X-Drake can't hold a candle to the Rooftop Gang. The Rooftop Gang are the top. Let's just be realistic. Hence, the Rooftop Gang. So, but incredibly nerfed there. I laugh at this because Yamato runs right in, ends up attacking X-Drake, but X-Drake goes, listen, I have nothing to do with Kaido anymore, and he has to block. He's like, holy shit, Yamato, shit, and then all of a sudden she goes, oh, really? Slam, and X-Drake just boom. So, no match for Yamato. I mean, to be fair, who really is? If Yamato ends up joining the Straw Hat crew, I would argue that Yamato is on the Zoro-Luffy level. Jinbei, probably a close, maybe tied for third, fourth. Sanji, sorry, Sanji fanboys. He's getting weaker and weaker on the Straw Hat crew. We just added a Warlord, who I argue is stronger every day of the week. And if Yamato joins, I mean, Yamato is arguably stronger than Jinbei too. So, you know, there you go. Now, that a lot of people found that funny. I thought it was like, why are people laughing at that? It's like, once again, not part of the Rooftop Gang. This is fucking Yamato. She was able to take on Kaido. Pretty sure any of the Supernovas not part of the Rooftop Gang could not clash with Kaido and walk away. So, this is not an unexpected result. The fact that he managed to block the attack at all is amazing. Realistically, that's a feat for X-Drake, not a diss for X-Drake, realistically. And then, of course, I think the number one, Fuga or whatever, ran away. Maybe that's number two, number one, I'm not sure. Actually ran away and followed after Yamato. So that's the thing. Now, the CP0 is on the move. And it's, of course, the mask wearers and stuff like that, chasing after Robin, as we know from the previous chapter, right? So, Robin is like, oh shit, like, but if everyone is CP0, the highest level in all of Cyberpol, the agents wearing the masks are the top within CP. So, within Cyberpol, if you wear masks, you are top. So, this implies that this dude, who is doing instant transmission away to go chase after Robin and Brooke, which, honestly, I have a feeling Brooke can actually, like, maybe not win against this guy, but I feel like he can take him on. Because people underestimate Brooke. Brooke is strong. Like, Brooke is not Nami. Brooke is not Usopp. Brooke is actually strong. Brooke, I would argue, is stronger than Frankie, Robin, a lot of them. Like, if you were to take, like, the strongest of the Straw Hats, right? You take your Monster Trio, you take Jinbei, blah, blah, blah. I would argue that, realistically, Brooke is right below them. Like, who's actually stronger than Brooke? You can argue Frankie or somebody like that if you like. But I would argue that Brooke is actually, as far as fighting capability, is actually right up there. He's middle of the Straw Hats. He's definitely not in the bottom tier. Maybe some people think that way. I don't know. But either way, he's running away as fast as he can, and he's dodging floors and blah, 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 and he's got Robin, and they're running. Once again, I don't want another damsel in distress story following Robin. I just think it doesn't make sense at this junction. So I think she's going to get away. The Minks are trying to fight off CP0 right now, but they're just flinging them away. They're just like, they're fodder to them. Unfortunately, I don't know anybody else other than Yamato, if Yamato becomes undistracted, that can actually take on these guys. Because after Zoro's fight with King, he's going to try his best to maybe make his way up to the roof, and that's about it. And he's probably not going to be able to make himself up to the roof anymore, unfortunately. I think Oda had made a bit of a blunder there. Sanji, we'll get to Sanji. And Jinbei, maybe Jinbei. Actually, maybe Jinbei, because Jinbei didn't take a huge amount of damage from Who's Who. And Jinbei is, of course, first Son of the Sea. So I think that Jinbei might be able to show up here and help out Brook and Robin against CP0. Then the last part of the chapter, which is, of course, the one that everybody's talking about, is the fact that, alright, so Sanji apparently hit a woman. He already did that by kicking Big Mom. Let's be realistic here. So everyone's saying that Sanji's never hit a woman. Once again, this is my problem with the Black Maria thing. It's my problem with the Violet thing. It's my problem with a lot of Sanji's character post-time skip, is the fact that he has hit a woman. If you want to say, oh no, it's an attractive woman, he considers Big Mom like not even a woman or whatever, then that's sexist as fuck, and then his whole gender thing is out the fucking window. Whether an ugly woman or a woman or an attractive woman, woman's a woman. Whether you rate them a 1 or you rate them a 10, they're still a woman. You don't get to decide. Sanji doesn't get to decide their gender. That's so misogynistic. That's misogynistic as fuck. So I'm saying right now, that's fucking bullshit. So Sanji has hit women before, chose not to. We're not even going there. So apparently, right here, he's hit a prostitute, he's hit a geisha, he's hit a hooker, whatever. And he remembers meeting up with her, and he blacked out. Now, I have a lot of problems with this. So he ends up right here. He ends up thinking about, all right, what does the King of the Pirates need? Like, does he need me, or does he need what I can become if I use this technology? The raid suit, if I become like my brothers, if I become like a crazy Germa scientific experiment. Is that what the King of the Pirates needs? And he thinks about that. Which one would you prefer and stuff? Like the fear in this woman's eyes and blah, blah, blah. So Queen is caught up with Sanji at this point while he's having this revelation. Now, I have a few problems with this. And then, you know what he decides to do? Queen is so excited that he's going to use the raid suit. He smashes the raid suit. So the one thing, once again, the invisible fruit, the one that he wanted so much that he can never get his hands on ever again, he finally got the power of invisibility. One of his 2 dreams, that and the all blue, and he smashes this thing. So right off the bat, I have mixed feelings about that, but we won't get into that. What we will get into is the fact that Sanji is not 2 + 2 = 4 anymore. At all. Last chapter, terrible logic, and here continuing the terrible logic. Once again, Sanji fanboys, I'm sorry, I like Sanji. Sanji's trash right now. Sanji is dumb. He's stupid. He has a good moment in this chapter, but it's only enhanced because it's a Zoro Sanji moment, not a Sanji moment. The Sanji moment is the fact that he's a dumbass. He's assuming that he blacks out. He assumes he blacks out. Once again, nobody in the community. I watched so many reviews. I talked to a lot of people on Discord. I've seen everybody's Reddit and Discord. Nobody believes Sanji hit this person. Everybody believes the roof collapsed and maybe he saved her and then he cracked his neck. I've heard that one. He was all garbled up after saving her and then he snapped his neck back into place, but she still took some of the damage or whatever, from the roof collapsing, and she's terrified of his weird ass body. The fact that he was able to, how could you get up after being stabbed with a steel beam? You pulled it out and you put your head back in place. It was spun right around like Zeus from Record of Ragnarok. She's probably terrified of that. So the entire community has believed that there's no fucking way that he actually hit this woman. The fact that Sanji believes he did it, first off, is dumb. Second off, the reason he believes it is because he said, I'm like you beat a woman unconscious, blah, blah, blah. He's remembering his siblings doing that in Whole Cake Island. They were conscious. It wasn't like, oh, well, since I'm a Germa subject, hi, female. Poof, 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 poof. Oh, wow, what happened to her? Oh, female. Poof, 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 poof. When the fuck did he ever, have that idea? The only reason the maid was beat up is because Sanji defended her and basically from Nichiji or whoever the fuck, whichever one of the siblings it was. They were totally conscious. They made a conscious decision to do it. Now, he was going out on a limb with a lot of the bullshit last chapter, which is why I think it was a terrible chapter. He went out on a limb, like a huge, like a limb longer than anybody's dick. The Guinness Book of World Records dick is not this long. And he went out on that level of limb, past that. And then here, he's even going further than that by then just adding insult to injury here. It's like they made a conscious decision to do that because you pissed them off. There was no blackout. Oh, innocent bystander. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, I don't know what happened. Where does he get this idea that a blackout means he beat a woman because he's like his siblings? People are gonna argue that in the comments, or they're gonna argue that on Reddit. Like Sanji fanboys, they're just as toxic as hardcore Zoro fanboys, of course. But they're gonna argue this till they're blue in the face. It's like, oh no, but like he thinks because he saw it, it's exactly like his siblings, and maybe he doesn't have control. Bullshit. There is no indication that the siblings ever black out from this. Has he blacked out this entire time? He says his body felt weird, blah, blah, blah. He had this blackout moment, maybe because he's like thinking all this bullshit in his head, and then he's assuming that he did something so out of character that his entire thing is changing. Once again, Judge isn't there to give him an order. So even if he blacked out, he assumes he's like Kuma. Like, when did the Germa siblings all of a sudden become Kuma without Judge to give them orders? Like, his logic makes no sense. Judge can order them to do stuff. They erase their emotions. They can do whatever, blah, 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 blah. Once again, even emotionless, they don't go around beating random women up. It was a one-time incident because you pissed them off. So why do you assume because you blacked out and because your body's changing that you automatically are going to start hitting random women? Like, it makes zero fucking sense from a logical standpoint. That's why the entire community doesn't believe it, because it doesn't make sense. You could argue, Sanji's, oh, he's stressed out. Fuck off. You're in the middle of a war. Sit down, shut the fuck up. And the end of the chapter part, which is the only good part, sit down, fucking fight Queen. That's your job. You keep saying, I'm a member of the Straw Hats, member of the Straw Hats. All you've done is run around and bitch this entire arc. Stand your ground, do your job. If you're so fucking great, if you're still a part of the Monster Trio, if Jinbei isn't better than you, if Yamato isn't stronger than you, then fucking show it and beat up Queen. That's your job, and all you've done is pussyfoot and run away, Sanji. You absolute dick. You have no reason to believe anything that you're believing right now. He had no reason to believe anything from the last chapter. He has no reason to believe anything in this chapter. And the only good that came out of this thing was the fact that, so he blew up his power-up. You could argue that now he's got the power-up with his body, yada, yada, yada. He destroyed his one power-up. And now he also talks to Zoro on the Den Mushi and basically says, I want you to kill me. If I'm not me, we're going to beat the Beast Pirates, right? And Zoro's like, yeah, I'm kind of busy right now, but yeah, absolutely. And we see Zoro, back to Zoro, the fight we actually care about. Zoro fighting King, and then Zoro says, yeah, absolutely, and stuff. And he says, all right. And Sanji says, like, if I'm not me, I'm going to beat Queen. And if I'm not me, I want you to kill me. Zoro just takes it in stride, says, all right, fine. I'll kill you just like you ask, whatever the hell that means. But here's the deal. You can't, that's something for me to look forward to. So that means you can't die before I get to kill you, you stupid cook, you stupid fry cook. And I'm like, this is a great moment. This is a good Sanji moment. This is a good Zoro moment. Finally, maybe this is the end of the Sanji bullshit. Maybe. I'm hoping, because there's been a lot of bullshit with Sanji for a long time that has either not made sense, or even if it makes sense, it's a bad, Sanji's been making from bad choice to worse choice, and then he's making illogical assumptions about what's happening. Every single one, he's had the information in front of him and comes up with a totally far-fetched conclusion. It's like 2 + 2 = 4. Now it equals 86. Boom. And he runs with the 86. Instead of going, no, 2 plus... wait a minute. 86. That doesn't seem right. I had 2 apples. I have 2 oranges. That means I have 4 pieces of fruit. No. 86 fruit. No. Like, he's not questioning anything. He's making these outlandish assumptions, and they're baseless. They're absolutely baseless for the most part. Like, he has half an equation, and he assumes an answer without the other half of the equation. He's a terrible mathematician or scientist for that regard. But then he uses this technique called Hell's Memories. He's completely inflamed his body in white flames, and he uses this ability called Hell's Memories, where he completely attacks Queen. That's the end of the chapter. Hopefully, this is a good redeeming moment for Sanji, because Sanji and Zoro did have a great moment. It's a 50-50 moment. It's not a Zoro moment. It's not a Sanji moment. It's a together moment. It's a great moment for the pair of them. And Sanji also finally stopped being a bitch, finally attacked Queen, full throttle, Hell Memories. This is a crazy new fire technique move, and it seems to fucking really hit on Queen here. So, maybe we're done with this bullshit. Maybe Sanji will finally stop acting like a little pussy. Maybe he'll be a better character again. Who the hell knows? But let's just see what happens in chapter 1032. Apparently no break next week, so that's really cool. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, though. Like, comment, and subscribe as always. Don't forget the fourth and most important thing is to drink, but responsibly. As always, as I always do. And I know a lot of Sanji fans are going to disagree with my statements about Sanji here. But once again, I argue, defend him all you want, but you're not going to convince me. Sorry, you're just not. I'm open to discussion about it, but I just don't see it. And once again, the weird thing is, I really like Sanji. I really do. But from Whole Cake Island to now, he's not done enough to impress me, and all he's done is disappoint me. For every good thing he does 5 things wrong. So, he's got to prove his place in the monster trio, otherwise Jinbei or Yamato is going to take it from him. Not from power alone, but from character alone. So, let me know what you guys think about that statement. We'll see you back here next time. Peace out, everybody.